Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Our teacher for this week is Alan Watts. And today's thoughts, if we had to capture a message from today's meditation, it would be this one thought from Alan Watts that says, Nirvana is exactly where you are, provided that you don't object to it. So let's get into the whole of today's message. Right here, right where you are right now, is where you hold the power. Right now is the only place where you can spend your energy productively, not in some future moment. If your happiness is always around some distant corner in the future, then guess what? You're never going to catch up to it. If you don't do the work to find that you can be happy right where you are, chances are that being unhappy will forever be your default state. Somebody, good morning. It is so good to see you. Hello. Your past can either be the fuel that inspires the energy that you pour into this moment, or you can be constantly pouring your energy into the past, wasting every drop into a time zone where you don't actually live. Expansion is not about having the goal to go somewhere. Expansion is the realization that truly being right where you are will take you everywhere. Leanne, good morning. It's really good to see you here. Alan Watts says, when we dance, the journey itself is the point. As when we play music, the playing itself is the point. And exactly the same thing is true in meditation. Meditation is the discovery that the point of life is always arrived at in the immediate moment. For unless one is able to live fully in the present, then the future is a hoax. Hey Maggie, good morning. Good to see you. There is no point whatsoever in making plans for a future which you will never be able to enjoy. When your future plans mature, you will still be living for some other future moment. You will never be able to sit back with full contentment and say, now I have arrived. Your entire education has deprived you of this capacity because it was preparing you for the future instead of showing you how to be alive now. And was it yesterday or the day before? There was this question about Monday's meditation. Was a question about Alan Watts saying the future doesn't exist. And what he really means is exactly this. You have your sights so set on the future that when you arrive to that moment, you'll miss it. And in that sense, it's useless planning for the future. Be better at living in this moment, and that will create your future moment. Alan Watts says the destination of life is this eternal moment, and nirvana is exactly where you are, provided that you don't object to it. Linda, a very good morning. So good to see you. How often do we arrive at moments which we just completely objected to? And in every resistance of the moment, we take ourselves out of that moment, hoping for something different and something better, but missing that when it arrives because we have our sights fixated on the next future moment. Today's meditation journey helps us step into that part of ourselves that recognizes this moment, the part that doesn't dwell on the pains of the past or our fear of the future, in an attempt to get better at applying ourselves in every moment, from one moment to the next. And that part of ourselves could be called our soul, our higher self. But for today's meditation specifically, we'll call it the observer, the part of us that's really good at taking a step back and seeing, being the witness. So if you're ready, you can close your eyes and let's float away on today's journey together, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. Every time you breathe out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. While you continue your own full body breathing, I want to remind you of some of Alan Watts' words. He says, what is the use in planning for the future if when you get to that future moment, you will miss it because you'll be fixated on some other future moment. How often do we do that? We realize it most when we look back at our own children and we yearn for old moments in which we were not fully present. Because we were worried about something else. We thought something else was more important, and probably something in the future. In this moment, you're stepping into the observer that you are. From this place of being the observer, you're looking back into the past and recognizing your own moments of not being present. And from this place of being the observer, we can look into the future and do a bit of rehearsing and say, I want to get better at this. When I have similar moments in the future, I want to remind myself to be present. And Watts said that nirvana is exactly where you are if you don't object to it. And we can look back into the past from this observer space and recognize how often we have so much resistance to whatever we find in our present moment, that we close ourselves off to what becomes available in those moments. And from the space of being the observer, we can look into the future and do a bit of rehearsing and say, I would like to be more open to every moment, even if my preconceived ideas don't enjoy this moment. I would like to be open to see what this moment makes available, because there is opportunity in every moment if we don't object to it. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies stretch, adjust, and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. Take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles forward and to the left, and also forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big circles, nice and slow. breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. You can lean your upper body over to the left and also lean your upper body over to the right. Stretching into your back muscles, feeling where the edges are, and gently leaning into those edges. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, or at least as much as we are able to, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is a really good place to stop. However, if you are here for the whole journey, then with every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. Let's take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in. And hold. And as you release, feel into your body. And feel how softness slowly settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling, feel your body slowly softening, and feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in. And hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving, and feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And you are invited to follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath. But hold it only for as long as it feels really comfortable, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, we're trying to see through the eyes of the observer, the part of us that can take a step back and see more. Take your next big breath. We'll use this space that we call the observer to look into the past and also look into the future in an attempt to get better at applying ourselves in the moment. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, remind yourself of an example of a moment that, in hindsight, you were not quite happy with how you reacted to that moment. You might have been very reactive. You might have reacted in anger or in fear. Do you have a recent example that would be most helpful? But if you don't have a recent example, search further back until you find a moment that you'd like to rehearse again. A moment in which you think, if you had to try again, you could respond better. Find your own example as you take your next big breath. So with your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, make it clear which part of your reaction it is that in hindsight you'd like to do something about. Take your next big breath. To capture the moment more clearly and create the moment of recognition in our own minds. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, remind yourself more vividly of that moment by even seeing if you can remember what you were wearing. What clothes were you wearing in that moment? Can you take a step back and get as clear a picture of you as you can? Take your next big breath. And in that moment, can you remember what kind of thoughts you were thinking just before you were reacting? What were the thoughts going through your mind? What were the feelings you felt in your body as you were just about to react? Take your next big breath. Could you capture the expression on your face in that moment? And then perhaps what is it that you said? What were the words you spoke? Or what were the actions you took? What was your body language in that moment of reactivity? Take your next big breath. And now we'll use this moment of being the observer, to look into the future and rehearse. And by rehearsing, we are creating the neural pathways that might recognize this moment when it shows up, and might help us be most empowered in that moment. So if the exact same moment, and we know it won't be, it'll be slightly different, but if the exact same moment or a similar one appears again in our future, how would you like to deal with it differently? What would you like your body language to look like? What would you want your facial expression to be if a similar moment happens in the future? Take your next big breath. If a similar moment were to repeat itself again, what are the thoughts that you would like to think in that moment? What is it that you will say to yourself if this moment arises again? How will you speak to yourself? Take your next big breath. And then what would you want your actions to be? How would you want to talk? If you had the opportunity to repeat this moment again, look at your body language. How would you speak? Take your next big breath. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, slipping out of the breath holding space and into the next. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, invite softness to slip in and settle in every cell of your body. One more big breath in. And hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or even lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. We lose access to this observer space, our soul, our wisdom. We lose access whenever we have resistance to what we think the moment brings. When the moment shows up and our fear tells us that this moment is not good enough as it is, it should have been somehow different. And then we start reacting to this moment in fear. And in our fear response, we shrink. We become narrow. We're only allowed thoughts of fighting or running. But when we are always open to the moment, accepting of whatever this moment brings, then we expand into this moment. And we have access to that expanded place within us, our wisdom, our soul, the observer. The part of us that can remember, I didn't enjoy how I reacted before. I would like to respond in a new way, in a more helpful way. I want to read you that one thought from Alan Watts again. The destination of life is this eternal moment. And nirvana is exactly where you are, provided that you don't object to it. Can I become better at not resisting any moment, not objecting to any moment, but being open, expanding into every moment. So that in the moment I am empowered with wisdom, and I have the ability to see what this moment makes available. Nirvana is exactly where we are, provided we don't object to it. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. A big thank you to Alan Watts for these beautiful messages. A deep breath in. Let me not plan for a future moment and then, when I arrive at that moment, miss it because I'm planning for another future moment. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to be open to every moment. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for the reminder to dance in every moment. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for sharing your moment with us. Hope you have a beautiful day. Hope you find yourself being able to dance in every moment of today. Thank you, Maggie. Good morning, Leshna. Good morning, Ingo. Good morning, Nella. Have an awesome day, everybody. Thank you, Sunmarie, and Linda, and Leanne. See you again soon. Ciao, ciao.